Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the very first episode of whatever the hell this thing's going to be. My name is George, and I'm really crazy. Just like to thank you for listening. This is going to be the world's most unprofessional, unedited, and unfiltered podcast. I plan to do no work to re-edit things, change things. I mean, it'll take a pretty severe social, racial, or sexual gaffe to cause me to go back and have to re-record something over something I said. We'll wait 3 episodes and see what happens, you know? God knows. Anyways, welcome to Diatribes from the Champagne Room. I'd like to welcome you all into the wonderful world that is me. You can see that I'll probably have to edit the background in this. But you are sharing my space right now, my intimate thoughts, my deepest desires. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and just share how life is going. So it's a Saturday afternoon. I think that's when we're going to try and do these things, at least at the beginning. The timing might change. But let's talk about what's going on, you know. It's a quiet day, a little bit gray outside, you know. We've had quite a week here. I live in Canada, so we've just had some elections where I live, and there were no winners. There was a lot to choose from, and it was all terrible. On the one hand, we had some people that don't think systemic racism exists. On the other hand, we had people that don't think that COVID-19 exists. And then on a third hand, we somehow had, useless establishment people that couldn't win a fight against a wet paper bag. And then on the other hand, we had, socialist idealists. While their ideas are great, they're going to tax anybody that makes more than $8 an hour, 92%. So that was a fun exercise in the fruitless. I'm sitting here on this pretty gray, cool Saturday afternoon in this early October weather. And, just thinking about life. And, I spend a lot of my time considering what's going on in my world, and it's, I don't like a lot of it, but, the theme of life is often acceptance, and apparently I have to accept all of this. That doesn't make me particularly happy, but it is what it is. It's a work in progress, people. That's God's honest truth. So today, driving in downtown Montreal earlier this morning, and I just happened to get pretty aggressively cut off by a Toyota Camry, the world's blandest dad car. And I just thought about these wonderful ways I'd like to watch this guy be set on fire. Just those healthy things, those healthy, those moments of sheer unadulterated rage that you learn over time not to act upon. You learn over time not to give in to the murderous rampage, I mean, I really hoped that within 3 blocks that this man would get completely crushed in a bus accident as a bus barreled through a red light with no brakes. Just one of those things. It took me another probably 6 blocks, which is an improvement. It is an improvement. We're down to 6 blocks for me to kind of let that go, let it go and realize that this guy probably has, things going on in his life, uh, children. I did look in the car as I passed him. Grandchildren that he was probably trying to get to or get away from. I mean, who knows what's going on with him? Or he could have just been on meth, and in that case, he's very sick. And I eventually did calm down. That's the story. Don't give in to those moments of rage. We all get them. I mean, it's it's just part of life, living in the big city. Driving around and getting cut off, and it's never fun. Got home, and then good things happen. I have a pool. That makes me sound very bougie. Let me try to bring it down to reasonable levels. It's a small above ground pool. Um, I would have never installed it. It came with the house. But the good news is I did have somebody help me to close the pool today, and they were very punctual. It's funny. I can remember a time, when I lived at home with my parents as a kid. You didn't have to ask a contractor to be on time. That was assumed. You don't have to. What I love is that you used to be able to specify a time for a delivery or for a contractor to show up, and now you're lucky if you can specify the day. It's I get that everybody's busy, but it just seems like nobody can schedule themselves. Nobody's organized. Nobody's organized. I'm really lucky with these guys. They've always been super punctual. I think that's a function of the owner, and God bless him for doing that. And they had my pool closed in 20 minutes. Can't ask for more. Meanwhile, I tried last year to get like a washer dryer installed, waited half a day, and the guys came in and there was one hose that wasn't unhooked, and they refused to do anything. They drove off with the new washer and dryer still in the truck that I'd paid for. There's utter buffoonery everywhere. I feel like the world in general is kind of playing to the lowest common denominator at this point. If we were to just let stupid be stupid and kind of play up ourselves to a more reasonable level, I think things would go a lot more smoothly. You know, um, there's a lot of people out there that are struggling, but very intelligent, very hardworking, very ambitious. With good upbringing and good principles that we could help and would get themselves out of their troubles and their woes. But we're not doing that now. We're literally spending most of our time playing to the fringe, whether that be the right or the left, or playing just to the, like I said, the lowest common denominator. It is, when I did a bit of studying in my youth, I was taught in a course about law that, in Canadian law at least, there's always the reasonable man test. And that is, a judge will generally try to assess what would the reasonable man have thought, what would the reasonable man have done in this situation, and that's generally, where he'll render a decision. If you've been patently stupid about something, then that's your fault, that's your problem. It's like one of the things I enjoy is that, in Canada at least, this is an advantage. You would never, theoretically, face a litigation like they did in the United States where, a woman drives away from it. This, I know it's an urban legend, but it's just a great example. A woman drives away from a McDonald's with a piping hot cup of coffee between her legs, speeds off, hits a speed bump, the coffee goes flying and burns herself all over her thighs and other places, you know? And then sues McDonald's for however much money she did, and, you know, it became a national news story. You would have to think that in a good world, the judge would tell that woman to pay the legal fees of the other party for being an idiot. You know, literally just, you've been stupid. You knew what you did was stupid, or you should have. And if you didn't realize that you were being stupid, then that's your problem, you know? The reasonable person. I suppose, you know, the reasonable person test is a tough test to follow. I suppose that's why I've become so unreasonable in my midlife, and, you know, we're getting down to the brass tacks as to why I'm doing this little exercise in podcasting and testing it out. I don't think this is going to last very long, to be honest with you. It's just going to be little 15-minute spurts here and there, but kind of like how I make love, but if I'm lucky. You know, but it's just something to do that's a little different. It's a little outside the norm. It's something to try, and you know, we're going to see where this goes. So I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody. If you made it this far, not quite 15 minutes, but if you made it this far, we're just testing things out, and hit you back with another episode soon.